This episode of the Red Bull Rant is brought to you by the fine people that support us through patreon.com/Red Bull Rant. Head on over there to support us and get exclusive content when we fucking feel like it. We want to send a special thanks to Chris Adamick, the Maeve Dartinez, Pierre, Eddie Delecto, and Jeremiah Dempster. As always, thanks, guys.
This is the Red Bull Rant podcast. If you aren't expecting adult language, why even bother listening? Welcome, my friends, to the show of friends. This is the Red Bull Rant podcast. I'm your host, Jason Iapico.
I'm Truman, and this is episode 444. If this is it, you want to sing it, Jay? You want to sing the song?
I'm blanking on at the moment.
Wow,
it's not coming to my head. I don't know why.
You don't know your 1980s Huey Lewis in the News, then?
No, I know the song. I just can't think of the lyrics at the moment.
Please let me know. Come on.
All I could think of is the chorus of If This Is It. That's the only thing I can think of at the moment, honestly. Sorry, my brain's not in 1980s mode, apparently.
Yeah, we'll do karaoke one of these days.
Yeah, my mind is in 1970s mode with Monty Python and the Holy Grail coming back to theaters for 2 nights in December.
It's only a model.
Only. For those of you who are curious what I'm talking about, Monty Python and the Holy Grail is this great movie from the late 1970s. And for the 48 and a half year anniversary, they're bringing it back for 2 nights. I believe it's December 3rd and December 6th. So,
if you've never heard of that movie, my guess is you don't listen to this podcast.
Or they're really young.
90% of the people that actually listen to the show know what that movie is.
So, someone that works with me has never seen it, but in fairness, they are young compared to me, which makes me feel old, but it is what it is.
Yeah.
All right. Let's get into it. Who would have thought? So I think the last episode we had was 2 weeks ago, right? Right before, or maybe 3 weeks ago. I can't remember exactly when. Who would have thought before the last 2 games that the Red Bulls would be in a position to control their own destiny for the playoffs?
Well, I'll tell you 2 people didn't, and that's the 2 of us.
Clearly, because we both predicted losses against Cincy, and I even made mine the true believer because that was the only way I was going to come back into prediction stuff. So, thank you, Red Bulls, for fucking me over and not getting me the belt.
Well, when do you want to talk about it? Do you want to talk about who won the prediction standings now or later?
I just said fuck the Red Bulls for not giving me the belt. I mean, is that pretty clear?
So what you're saying is you're going to get your screen capture ready.
God damn it.
So everyone can see what is staying in my possession for yet another year. I'm never giving it back. I told you this before the beginning of the season. It's staying right here.
All right, hold on. Keep it up for a second. Actually, never mind. You're good.
Boom, right there.
You don't have your finger. I don't have the finger, but I got your... I
believe that says champion right there. Champion. Again.
Stupid me for making a belt.
Yeah, that was a terrible idea of you. You should have kept the old WWE one. Because you're never going to see this again. This is it. You get to see it in this picture.
We're going to go WWE route. We'll make a secondary title just because.
Gotta put a big X on it. Got to put a big X on it like CM Punk. So here it is. Better luck in 2024, I guess.
Yeah.
I should have just started the show like this, right? Should I just do this for the rest of the podcast?
Hold on. Let me get another photo of that one.
There you go. Hold on. There we go. We don't want too much of the television in it there. That's a lot of TV.
Hold on. There we go.
It's so shiny. It's so shiny.
Oh, it's okay. That was to my. So I didn't save the first one apparently, but that's okay. Should actually, edit this photo. but I'll take care of that later. Actually, no, hold on. I get one more because your eyes are closed. If we're going to do this. This is great radio, by the way.
Yeah, that's fantastic. Everyone's riveted.
Okay, that was a good one. I'll make sure to post it after we're done.
Boom. Thank you.
Just save that for now. Okay. All right. So yeah, clearly Truman's won or kept the belt, retained it.
Like Roman Reigns.
Except with the possibly longer title run at some point.
Yes, right. Who's going to go longer, me or Roman? That's the real question.
So the Red Bulls are, and we'll get to scenarios, but they are currently in control of their own destiny for the playoffs. They went into Cincy, ruined the Shield celebration with a 2-1 victory. Took care of business at home against Toronto 3-0, like they absolutely should have fucking done because Toronto's garbage. Got a fair bit of help, including Miami this week. But we'll talk about how stuff is shaping up. But when we talk about that, we should get to our tweets. So, Truman, do you have those ready to read?
Got them. Got a bunch, which is nice.
I don't know if there's much there. Okay, I was going to say, I don't know how many you got.
There's a good amount. Yeah, there's a good amount. After the Cincy game, Metro Truck said, by keeping hope alive, do you mean prolong the suffering? By the way, we're still prolonging the suffering, as you can see. Accurate Beat Taxi, Steven Santos was one of my favorite memes of all time, and that, of course, is Jim Morris. Playoffs? So like we can win a game? Talking about playoffs. Steve H. at Steven RBNY7 said, as bad as they've been this season, last night showed that they are only quality finisher away from being relevant in the league. Does that make it good for the Red Bulls or bad for the rest of the league? Steve, I agree. They also need a good midfielder to get that guy the ball. I think this team has proved for several seasons their defense is fantastic. They usually don't lose a game by a wide margin. It's usually a one-goal game.
They're basically the New York Jets.
Right. Yeah. They're that quarterback away, right? That doesn't blow out his Achilles.
At least Zach Wilson has turned in from a guy that turns the ball over to a game manager. So at least there's that, apparently.
Yep. So Steven Santos actually also added, we beat a first place team. Wow. And held the lead. Mocha at iMocha said, should Menwov cut his hair earlier in the season? And then Say No to Fascists is at NYC_Ty said, they're going to break our hearts again. It's the hope that kills. Yeah, of course that's what they're going to do. I mean, come on. So let's talk about the 3-0 win over Toronto. Our friend Eddie Pierre Delecto said, well, I did this yet despite these fuckers won. I'm so confused. And he had a bag on his head that said fire everyone, which I absolutely love. And I'm going to like that tweet now, even though he posted it almost 10 days ago, more than 10 days ago. Tonino M. If they make the playoffs, I have a feeling nothing will change next season. No good talent, just young and cheap. Part of me wants them to miss the playoffs as a wake-up call. I agree, but I will say this. I think even if they don't make the playoffs, they're still not going to do anything. So
the fact that they're at the edge of the playoffs, I think, was enough to – I mean, we heard during – at least I heard during the game, because I was listening to the RBNY audio feed, that Lassane is the front runner for the job next year. And I think we had talked about he – at least in our eyes, didn't earn the job for next year, but what do we know?
Right. Our good friend Anthony said, they've looked good this week. Took too long to get here. Front office probably thinks this is proof that they don't need to spend, which is not what fans want. MLS in general needs to spend more. The championship pays better than this league. Agreed, but we have.
We can get to, well, actually, that reminds me about a dumping rent thing, but go ahead.
We have wacky caps, and this league's just so strange. Metro Truck again, waiting until the last moment to rip your heart out. Absolutely. Steve Santos after this game, I feel like these wins are too little, too late for a chance at the playoffs. And then our friend Francesco said, a routine win against a shit team. This shouldn't feel as good as it did. But doesn't beating Toronto always feel good?
Well, of course.
When they're crap or when they're good. You know what my favorite one was? My favorite one was, and I might have been a little bit before your time, but our last year, actually, I mean, the last time we didn't make the playoffs, the last game was against Toronto at home at Giant Stadium before we moved into Red Bull Arena. Toronto needed to win the game. to make the playoffs, and we beat the hell out of them. I can't tell you what the final score was. It was like 3-0, 4-0. It was bad. We beat their brains in at Giant Stadium in the torrential downpour. Everyone was soaking wet, but that was fun to watch. And their Toronto fans were there to watch them get eliminated from the playoffs. Oh, what a time that was to be alive!
Yeah, that's before that was, I think, half a year before I showed up.
Had been in 2000.
It would have been 09.
2008.
Okay, year and a half then.
Well, what season? Oh, you're right. 2009 was the last year at Giant.
Because 2010 was Red Bull Arena's opening.
Yeah.
I remember this because I went to the JPA free kick goal against Houston, which was right before the World Cup that year.
So, can I go to the last game? Bump, bump. Oh, 5-0. So there you go. Matt Kanji scored 2 goals, and Juan Pablo Angel scored 2 goals. And Matthew Uta scored 1.
Kanji's a name I've heard in a while.
The Kanji man did. So there you go, 5-0. I have pictures from that day. That was quite a scene, man. Quite a scene.
Kind of reminds me when you or I were in DC for the final game at RFK.
Yeah. Oh, that was fantastic. Oh, what a delight that was. Oh, this belt's so heavy. It's so heavy, Jay. It's so heavy. I wish someone would take it off my shoulder. Oh, God.
I'm going to be the Brooklyn Dodgers is always next year. All right. So before we get talked about anything with playoffs, let's talk about these games. Likes, dislikes. What did you dislike about these 2 games?
Biggest dislike. We didn't see these kind of performances the entire season. I think that's the big one. Now, everyone's going to tell you they played a Cincinnati B squad, and everyone's going to tell you that they played the worst team in MLS at home. But we were playing bad teams and still losing. And we were playing almost B teams and losing on the road. So, I mean, if they play like this all year, they're probably in the middle of the playoff spot. That's the thing that absolutely just drives you nuts. It's the classic, where was this team winning 2 games in a row?
And I mean, the point about who we beat, you know what doesn't care about who you play and when? It's called the standings.
Right.
All it cares is how many wins, losses, and draws you have.
Yep.
You play the schedule you're given. You play the players that are on the field. That's just how it goes. We won. I don't know why our backs had to be against the wall basically for shit to happen, but I don't know. I mean, I'm not. It's weird. I'm not necessarily thrilled to go into the playoffs because I just know it's gonna be disappointment.
Yeah, 100% it will be. I mean, that's not a question.
I feel like we at least deserve the playoff spot just to own the record for longest active playoff streak. Because right now we're tied with Seattle for 13.
Would it feel good, though, knowing that if they go to the playoffs, that they would be in the playoffs and NYCFC and DC would not?
Well, it's already good because DC's already not in the playoffs.
Correct. Even though when you go to the standings, they are, but we all know they're not.
Well, yeah. Like I said, we'll get to that in a minute because I find it really funny, but I want to focus on the games first. My dislike, and it's kind of of course, it's that so fucking Metro moment of in the Cincinnati game where we look like we may get away with not giving up a penalty kick, immediately go down the field and score, and then VAR overturns it. We lose our goal, give up the penalty kick, and I don't blame Cornell for not getting it because, it's a fucking crapshoot for goalies, not saving the penalty kick, and then we give up that goal. I feel like that whole sequence is just so fucking Metro. All right, likes for this. I was going to say the fact that we scored 3 against Toronto. I don't care who it is. We scored 3. That's I think the second time this year we scored 3 goals in a game.
I'm just going to be very, very specific and say the best part was Michael Bradley's terrible turnover. That's what you get for being on Toronto.
Oh yeah.
I think we turned him over right into retirement. I think that's what happened. That move was so devastating. He retired immediately.
That game gave Toronto the wooden spoon. Bradley looked at it. He's like, well, fuck this shit. I'm done.
Yep.
It's like after that turnover and getting the spoon, I'm out.
So, oh well.
fitting to a degree that his last sort of meaningful game is going to be the one, or at least one of them, was at Red Bull Arena against his former team.
You know what the real insult was, though, right? Tom Barlow scored the goal.
You know, honestly, I don't fucking care who scored. I just want some. It's like I say about. I said this to my cousin when I went to a wedding a few weeks ago, and it's about talking about Zach Wilson. I was like, honestly, I don't care if Zach Wilson's the quarterback. I just want the team to do well. So you know what? If Tom Barlow scores means we're going to do well, I'll take it. Do I think it's going to happen on a regular basis? No, but if that's what ends up happening, fine. I can live with success. So I'm not going to argue it.
Just the thought that, again, your last moment, one of your final moments on the field, is not only turning the ball over, not only giving up a goal, but that goal was scored by Tom Barlow. Not Messi, not a Thierry Henry, not even an Eddie Gavin. No, it was Tom Barlow.
All right. Any afterthoughts?
More of this, I guess. More of being ready to play up to games.
Goals and winning
chances. Yeah. Again, I know. Crap team, B team Columbus, but you still beat them in their house when they should have been hyped up to win that game.
Yeah.
And could have been hyped up to literally knock the Red Bulls out of playoff contention.
Yeah. I mean, the fans clearly were.
Yeah, they were not amused.
Yeah. Which I have to say, I find it really funny seeing all the salty Cincy fans. Like every single time we beat them, they're so fucking salty about the fact that we beat them.
Yeah.
I don't get it. I mean, are we still that in their heads because of the Open Cup victory years ago?
I think it still burns them up. Yeah, I think they're still upset over it.
All right, well, let's talk playoff scenarios now. So, first off, you mentioned DC. So DC currently sits in 9th in the Eastern Conference. They have no more games to play because there's only 15 teams, and therefore you can't have every team play on the last day of the season. They are tied on points with us, New York City, Chicago, and I believe the last team is Charlotte. I need to double check the standings. I don't remember where Charlotte is.
It's in North Carolina.
Oh, thank you. But I meant standing wise.
You're welcome. Thought I'd help you out.
So DC, DC, Red Bulls, Chicago, Charlotte are all at 40 points. New York City's at 38. I was wrong with New York City. DC is already eliminated from the playoffs. It's amazing that they have to go into last week not being able to do anything and just sit back and watch themselves not even make it.
Yeah.
So the reason that they are out is because Chicago and New York City play each other. And that game, regardless of however it ends, at least one team makes it to 41 points.
Yeah, and that automatically knocks them out.
Exactly. So DC, no matter what, is out because number 9 in the Eastern Conference at minimum is 41 points.
Yeah.
For the Red Bulls, this is what happens. If they lose, they're done. It doesn't even matter because they can't get to 41 points. If they draw, they need New York City, Chicago match to end in the draw. This way they are tied with Chicago, which they will have the goal difference on. They need Charlotte to lose or draw to Miami because they own the tiebreaker. So that's the only way with a draw that the Red Bulls get in on a draw. On a win, it doesn't matter whatever happens. The only real fluke way we don't make it, if that's the case, is if Chicago basically makes up a 7 goal difference in the standings, and Montreal happens to win their game. That's the only way we don't get in with the win. So pretty much, if we take care of business in Nashville, we're in. It doesn't matter.
Hopefully against a team that really has nothing to play for in Nashville.
They have playoff positioning to play for. That's it.
So they have 9, right? So they can go from 7 to 5th.
I'm not sure because I don't know if they own tiebreakers. They don't own the goal difference over New England, but I don't know about the Oh, they definitely don't own goals for, so no, they're not. There's no way. So the best they can do is 6, I think. But still,
So
6 for 7
nothing
is
crazy. Right. It's nothing huge.
6 for 7. You're talking Orlando City or Philadelphia in the first round.
Yeah.
So, the Red Bulls, in theory, could end up in 8th place, which would mean the wild card game at home in a do or die situation. If Montreal does not get a win and the Red Bulls do, that's how they get into 8th. Let's see, who's Montreal playing? Because I don't remember.
Columbus at home.
Columbus.
No, Columbus on the road.
Okay, so it's possible that they get at least a point out of that game. So probability-wise, I would think the Red Bulls have the best chance of making it out of the teams that are on the bubble, basically, because they had the most situations that would help them out. So
they're the bubble boys. They live in a bubble.
All right. So with that, let's now talk about the game coming up on Saturday at Nashville. That will be on the Saturday, the 21st. The game is not 7:30 p.m. as it usually is. It is 6 because 6 is the window for all of the Eastern Conference games. And then I think 8 or 8:30 is all the Western Conference games. So decision day, how they, all these at one time. So that's 6 o'clock is our window. Nashville comes in with a 13-10-10 record, a +8 goal difference, 49 points, 7th in the Eastern Conference. Their last 5, they have 1 win, 1 loss, and 3 draws. So relatively middling in terms of their recent form. I know it's over, but we still got to do predictions. Truman, what is your prediction for the last regular season game of the year?
Okay, so what do we do? Right? Isn't this the question? Do I make a crazy win prediction, getting my hopes up? Do I predict the loss so it reverse jinxes them that they somehow win? Or do they just get a draw and just be stupid? I don't know. I'm gonna say Dax McCarty scores 5 own goals and the Red Bulls win 5-0. Does that make sense?
He's basically doing us a solid, is what you're saying.
Correct.
I'm gonna go slightly different. I want to check one thing before I want to make sure. Okay, yep, I'm right. So I'm gonna go slightly different. I think it's gonna be a 4-0 win, but I think Dax and Alex Wheeler are gonna split the load a little bit, and they'll each get 2 own goals.
Oh, I like that.
Just one, not to make it as obvious.
Right. Yeah, you don't want to completely tip off the bookies.
Exactly. And then 2, of course, they're both doing it for their what in theory bigger club that they've been part of. So I think that's where we're going.
I like it.
All right, moving on. New York Red Bulls 2, they did not make it in the MLS Next Pro playoffs. They lost their second round matchup to New England 2-1. It's the Academy. They got playing time, so that's all that really matters.
Yeah.
Gotham FC, they finished the regular season with an 8-7-7 record, a +1 goal difference, 31 points, number 6 in the East, which is the last in for the NWSL playoffs. And I think they clinched that spot on the last day, too.
They did. Skin of their teeth.
Yep. Their first playoff match is going to be on Sunday the 22nd, 7 p.m. at the North Carolina Courage. Want to talk about playoffs, but I'm going to say it for number ground first. It is time for the Red Bull F1 update.
And box now, box forward. Stay out. Fuck! Why?
Where do we leave off with this team? We all know Max is the champ. Did we lead off of him just having to win the sprint, which he did?
Yes. It was right before Qatar is where we last talked about it.
He decides to just go win the sprint and in the championship race right then and there, and then go on to win the race as well. So
and not pass out while doing so.
Yeah. But hey, if you're looking for a weekend to get into it, obviously the pressure's off. They are in Austin, Texas this weekend. So perfect time to watch a race because it'll be right in the afternoon. We got 5 races left, I believe. We have Austin, we have Mexico, we have Brazil, we have Vegas, and then we have Saudi Arabia. I think it's the last one.
Dhabi.
Oh, Abu Dhabi. Okay, yeah. So 5 races left. 5 races for Checo to get his shit together. Make sure he finishes second in the standings. Plenty of time for Ferrari and Mercedes to duke it out a little bit there. So there's still plenty of good racing to watch. Still should be pretty captivating.
Yep. So for those of you who don't, because it's been a few weeks, Red Bull's won the Constructors' Championship, which means they're the best team over the season. Max is the best driver over the season. Nobody can surpass him on points. Sergio Perez is 30 points ahead of Lewis Hamilton right now in the standings for the drivers. So that race is close.
Yep.
With 5
He's got to get his shit
together
together with these 5 races left.
Of course, it helped a lot that Hamilton got knocked out of the very first lap in a kind of funny crash.
Yeah, that was ridiculous.
When I texted you,
you need to have the soundbite where he says, "We're knocked out by my own teammate."
When I texted you, I had to be very careful because I didn't know if that's why I asked if you're just watching. And when you said no, I was like, all right, it's like shit happened in the first lap, and I left it at that.
Yeah, did it ever?
So yeah, that's the F1 update. All right, with that, it is time for the dumping grounds.
I'm the trash man.
All right, so a few things to talk about. First, I want to talk about the playoffs because this fucking format that MLS has is kind of stupid. The one and done for the wild card, I get. A best of 3 for the next round. I know this is purely Apple's doing because they want more games.
Yeah.
But then to take a week off before resuming the tournament makes no sense. And then go in single elimination after that. Like, if you're going to do fucking best of 3, why not just keep it going? I mean,
ever made sense to you?
At least, or maybe do the 2-leg series, bring that back again, and then I don't know. I also kind of wish if we were going to do this best of 3 and just go to the penalty kicks, that we just bring back the MLS 1.0 penalty kicks where you run in from the like 30 yards out. Yeah, whatever it is. Like, let's just bring that penalty kick back, because at least that makes it more entertaining than the spot kick.
Yeah, that was fun.
And I feel like the goalie at least has somewhat of a chance from that.
The funniest part, too, is why this league looks really silly is every other American professional league has been doing the same playoff format for the most part for a long time. I mean, baseball just added a few more teams, but they didn't get crazy. They don't just change it every couple of years to something completely ridiculous. Why can't MLS just figure it out? I don't think it's that hard to figure it out and just settle.
Yeah, I don't know.
You know, the NFL does quite fine with single game elimination playoff format.
Yeah.
Where the home team has a thing called the home field advantage.
And they even when they added teams, it didn't dilute the quality of the playoffs.
Right.
I think one of the bigger issues is the fact that we have 9 teams per conference.
Right.
When over half your league makes the playoffs, what's the point?
Yep.
Like, we might as well just do coin flips to determine the 9 seeds and just leave the rest at home and not even play the regular season.
Yeah. Hey, Jay, do you appreciate that you can watch the football game and the reflection of this championship belt? Look at that replay. Look at that replay of the game. Look at this. That guy's doing this. Like, I'm running that way.
I like the fact that I watched it on my computer before I saw the reflection.
Yeah, there's a nice replay of the game right there.
So yeah, This playoff format makes no sense to me. I get you want, or Apple wants more games because of money and all that stuff.
Because they thought Messi was going to be in the playoffs.
Well, was that even the case? Because weren't these? I think these playoff format was announced at the very beginning of the year, before Messi was even a rumor.
You'll never talk me out of it ever. You'll never convince me that's not the reason.
I am sure next year Apple's going to find a way to convince MLS to let every team into the playoffs, to guarantee Messi's going to be there no matter what.
And it'll all be in the Miami area, every game for every team.
Yeah, they're going to go COVID style.
That's right. They're going back to the bubble.
Yeah, they're going to have the bubble down in. They'll share it between Miami and Orlando and just do everything there.
Yeah.
So the next thing I want to talk about is salaries. I'm not getting into individual salaries, but MLS Players Association released their salaries for 2023. Few things to know for the Red Bulls. We are one of a few teams, I think it's only like maybe two others, that does not have a player making DP money. So Van Zier and Laquinius and Morgan are all allocation money or lower. That also means we have one of the lowest payrolls in the league. So
it's like that almost every year.
The top salary this year, and clearly it's got to be because Messi showed up, is Inter Miami.
Yeah.
Right. That they're at roughly $39.5 million, which there's another point I'm going to bring up in a few minutes about what that really means in terms of the league. But $39.5 million is the top salary this year. I do find it funny though. The top three salaries are Inter Miami, Toronto, and the Galaxy. And all three of those are 26th and lower in the overall standings. Now, granted, Miami gets like a star next to them because of when Messi showed up.
Yeah.
The average MLS team salary is $17.3 million. The Red Bulls are all the way down in 26th at a grand total of, do you want to take a guess? Because I don't think you have this in front of you.
I don't. So you said Inter's what, 30 something?
So Inter Miami is 39.5. The league average is 17.3.
Oh, I'm going to say we're like 11.2.
Very close, 11.3.
Yeah, oh, look at that. Are you kidding me? That's impressive, right? No, that's not looking at all. No idea.
That's Price is Right money there.
It is. I just $1 that shit.
The bottom team, the weirdest thing though is the bottom team in terms of spending is Orlando at $9.6 million. They're the second highest ranking team in the league this year. So it's almost like teams pulled off the buy low, play high methodology better than we did. Oh, and St. Louis, the newcomer to the league is at $11.1 million, but number third overall in the league. So
yeah.
But this is something I think when we had Pat on the show, we've talked about this before. Oh, actually, you know what? I just see this. I'm looking at this Reddit thread for the salaries. In April, when it was reported, let's see, where's Miami? Because that's for the data point. Do you want to take a guess what Miami's number was in April? Remember, they're at 39.5 right now.
I'm going to say it was like 15.3.
It was 18 million.
Oh, okay.
So they doubled their salary based on three guys.
Yep.
I think, though, now I don't know how much money MLS and the teams make, but I think this is an indication of how much room MLS has to grow in terms of soccer. Because if you look at, and I'm not even going to use the Premier League because I think those wages are kind of inflated, but like, and I'm probably going to make some numbers off the top of my head here, but Germany, Italy, France, Spain, like the other like top four leagues in Europe, right? I bet you that 39.5 is not even the average salary. Like that's probably low for an average salary in those countries.
Oh, I'm sure.
And now I know transfer fees are a big part of that are not counted in these numbers because this is just base salary and incentives, whatever. It's not transfer fees, but I can't imagine that MLS is sitting here with money not to spend. Right? There's no way we're not past the point that we can start putting some money into this and not still have profit left over for the owners.
Right, bumping up the salary caps, bumping up a lot, and then teams don't want to spend, they don't spend. But yeah,
and maybe incentivizing teams to actually spend a little bit.
I mean, the only way you're actually going to grow this league is to let the teams spend their own money on quality players around the world and make it not the quote unquote retirement league everyone wants to talk about. And you can actually keep American players, bring in other players from other countries, actually make it a competitive league. That's it. If it's not going to be that, then it's just going to be one of those selling leagues.
I mean, if you really want a salary cap, I guess I get it because you could argue to a degree player salaries can be a little ridiculous at times. But maybe league minimums need to increase. I'm pretty sure the league minimum is still below $100,000 a year.
Mm-hmm.
League minimums increase. You're going to have to probably expand the roster size because of all these extra games you're asking players to play, i.e. Leagues Cup.
Yep.
That talent needs to come from somewhere. And the only way it comes is with money.
Yep.
I know everybody wants to build through their academy because it's cheaper. But realistically, like how many times has the Red Bulls had a academy player really hit and create an impact on the team? So it's literally less than 5. Right? Tyler Adams.
Mm-hmm.
Sean Davis.
Yeah.
And that's to me, that's pretty much it.
Yeah, when you're looking at big names.
Yeah. Like Aaron Long wasn't an academy product. He was he came from out west and we got him through I don't think it was a draft, but he got through some sort of trade with somebody. Tim Ream, just because I remember because he's still in England, I don't think he was an academy product because our academy wasn't really great at that time.
Yeah.
I mean, so Sean Davis was what? Like he started playing 14, 15, roughly.
Mm-hmm.
And Adams around the time. So in the 8 or so years, let's call it 10 years, 2 players in 10 years. Other academies have a lot more hits. We don't, which is fine, right? It's just how it is. But that means you got to bring money or you got to bring talent in from somewhere, and that takes money.
Yep.
All right. I think that's it for me. Do you have anything else you want to talk about with Dumping Ground?
I got nothing.
All right. That brings us to the last segment of the show, Truman's Terrible Team of the Week.
That's terrible.
You know, it's been a while, but I'm going to talk about a team that this is kind of like a love-hate thing because I love seeing them fail, but I hate seeing who they fail to. And that is the Atlanta Braves. Best team in baseball all season. Back to being a perennial choke artist in the playoffs. Unfortunately, it was to the Phillies, who I absolutely despise. So I just can't have the Phillies win the World Series. Their fans don't deserve it. That town does not deserve to be happy. But the Braves, all their records and playing great and all this and home runs and every stolen base and everything they did, absolutely choked in the playoffs. That also might be an issue with the playoff system, having some of these teams not playing for quite a while. Just happened to the Baltimore Orioles and the LA Dodgers. But I'm glad it did happen to the Atlanta Braves because I'm not a fan.
Actually, that reminds me. What's the playoff schedule look like for
baseball?
That's not the right year. No,
right
for us. For MLS. I'm trying to think of when the world or the play-in game.
Playing a game will be played in like 5 weeks. That'll be the first game of the first round of the playoffs.
So if the Red Bulls make it, their wild card game is Wednesday, the 25th. And then they would have to play presumably the weekend of the 28th. So I'm pretty sure they play 3 weekends in a row.
Mm-hmm.
Before the international break. So yeah. At least we're not off as long as other leagues, but still.
It's still all very silly.
It is. So, by the way, speaking of Philly fans, you reminded me. I loved watching the sadness wash over the fans of the Eagles during that game against the Jets.
Oh, that was delightful.
It was.
That was
first ever time we beat the Eagles, and to see their fans literally crying in the stadium over a regular season game.
Also, you heard how loud it was with the Eagles fans in MetLife Stadium. Like, I don't appreciate that because there was clearly tons and tons of them. But yeah, seeing them go silent and the place roar when the Jets pretty much ended that game on that interception, that was fantastic.
Yeah,
I watched those highlights a lot. Really, not so much because it was the Jets winning, but because it was the Eagles losing.
So I'll watch them for both.
Makes me feel good. I need to look good in my life. The Giants stink, and yet here I am wearing their shirt.
You know, we play you. We're on the bye this week, and then we play you guys after that.
Yeah, I go all in on the Jets. They're the only team with a chance. The Giants don't have a chance. Giants are terrible.
And Aaron Rodgers may somehow be back within 6 months.
Oh my God.
Mr. Anti-Vax was somehow following medical science and making a breakthrough. Like, who the fuck had that on their bingo card this year?
Yeah.
All right. You can visit us. Let's start this one up. You can visit us at patreon.com/Red Bull Rant. $1 a month is all you need for exclusive content, such as anything we decide to do because we don't do our monthly wrap-ups. We do have a few, I think, in the work in terms of Patreon things. We just haven't had a chance to schedule. So
yeah.
That's not true. We tried to. You tried to schedule one of them and it just didn't work out so far.
We're getting there. We're getting there.
Yeah,
we have a couple ideas going on.
Yeah. Email us redbullrant@gmail.com if you want to call us 973-348-5329. Facebook.com/redbullrant on Twitter because I refuse to call it X at Red Bull Rant for the show at Dr. Suits for myself at the Truman for Truman. Subscribe to us via iTunes, Stitcher Radio, YouTube Music, YouTube, SoundCloud, Spotify, pretty much anywhere you can find a podcast. Last words before we get out of here.
If you're gonna lose, please be down 3-0 after the first half, so we can tune out the second half and not have to sit through like a 1-0 loss. Just make the pain easy. Yeah, just make it easy for us. But if you're not gonna do that, ask for just one simple thing. It's not that hard, except for when Tom Barlow's in the lineup, and that's win.
Yep. All right, so for Truman and myself, this has been episode 444 of the Red Bull Rant. Thank you guys for tuning in, and as always, go Red Bulls.
See ya.